Hello and welcome to JagaVision episode 51. Really excited for the show today. Hopefully you're joining us. Oh, hold on one sec. Every Thursday at 1 o'clock. We've been doing these shows now for 51 weeks, if you can believe it. Today we're going to be joined by Seasons Bakery. We have Anfisa representing. She's their online manager there. We were able to courier over some of their sweets to have with a Huang that we'll be enjoying a little bit later in the broadcast. And just so you know, if you're tuning in, I don't know where you're tuning in from, but it's probably either Facebook or Twitch or it's YouTube because that's where we're broadcasting too. But archived versions of this show are on our YouTube channel, so you can go to youtube.com/jagasilk and you can check out previous episodes. We've had some really awesome guests on over the past year. Sister Speak, the lead singer Sherri joins us basically weekly as almost an honorary co-host, and she's going to be joining us today as well. She does these live performances before our show at 12 o'clock, and it's good times. It's good times. You should totally check her out. Go to patreon.com/sisterspeak or go to her Facebook and check her out there. She drinks tea and has a lot of fun and plays some amazing songs, and highly encourage you to go and enjoy watching her perform. So, like I like to do, we're going to be doing a tea that we've never done before. You know, what's really interesting today is this is going to be a Biluchin, and what's really exciting about it is that it's a 2021. So it's that time of year. We're hitting April. You know, we're almost into May actually. We would have had some harvests happen late January in India, more in February for those first flushes. You get into March and you're experiencing some pretty cool stuff with selections out of China. You get into May and June, and you start to get into the Japanese first flushes, the really beautiful stuff from Japan. And of course, I can't find my dosing trays for my loose tea. Where did I put them? There they are. Well, thank you. Okay, so gonna dose out a good 6 grams of tea. Gonna do a nice gongfucha style is the plan. So let's actually use this guy. I don't like to rinse when it comes to my green teas. I really like to make sure that I'm drinking that first infusion. But if you can see that, some pretty gorgeous leaves. Yeah, so these are, the Biluchin leaves are basically almost all bud, very tiny leaves. This is a very early harvest tea, generally speaking. We're generally talking March. They put a lot of, China talks a little bit about Qingming, this particular time of year where everything needs to be ready. And so pre-Qingming is going to be different from like after Qingming. But honestly, shouldn't be about a date on the calendar, March 15th-ish. It should be about actual when the tea is ready. So kind of experimenting. Normally I would not drink a green tea with boiling water. It's a general rule of thumb that you want to be enjoying your green teas with a cooler water temperature. Almost always I'm going to make my Biluchin with 80 degrees centigrade water. I find that a little bit of leaf packs a big punch. So I'm going to be doing 3 grams for 180 mils. Today I'm kind of continuing my experiments with gongfucha style. So I'm doing boiling water. Some, like we had a guest on 2 weeks ago. We had last week. It was the wonderful Tikan, and we did a white tea with her. She did not do boiling water. She was all about 90 degrees for her white tea. So even though she was doing a high dose and she had very little water over quite a bit of leaf. So I did 6 grams, 180 mils. I'm picking up some pretty cool aromatics here. May have burnt the leaves. but I didn't. Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, we're talking about a quite a lovely tea. Yeah, I'm trying to figure this one out because recently my whole idea about extraction has been kind of thrown on its head. I put a lot of energy into dosing my teas carefully, testing out different extraction methods, and it's kind of interesting how consistent the Gongfu style is at making a really, really drinkable tea. So this idea of just doing 1 gram for every 30 mils, or even 1 gram for every 20 mils, and then doing these flash infusions with really hot water, like really boiling water, and having these high doses. Yeah, it's been really fascinating. Yeah, no, I'm impressed. I think that this tea has a lot to say, and it's being I think it's being represented well through this way of brewing. So here's to that. Biluochun is one of the candidates we have. I don't know how many of you watching have had a chance to sit down with our program and enjoyed some of our loose teas, but we generally speaking like to cycle through different teas. So a long time ago when we were opening up the tea bar in 2009, we were a wholesaler for a number of years, strictly selling matcha, and that is definitely what we specialize in. But when we decided to do loose teas, we thought it would be really interesting to just do a very simple program. And I was always really inspired by wine menus and coffee menus that were, they had interesting selections, but they weren't overburdening with you with just tons of different selections. And I find that it's very easy as a tea company to just buy lots of variety and celebrate that variety and be like, hey, I have like 200, 300, 400 different types of tea, and that somehow would make me this, like, I guess, a specialist because of how many I have. But that's never really made a lot of sense to me. I feel like it's through simplicity that simplicity can be deceiving. You have a very, very limited menu, but that allows you to explore in a lot of depth the items that you do have. And so as part of our learning journey, we made a decision really early on that we would we would be drinking lots of different teas, loose teas, but as a complement to our matcha program, so it fit well with the concept of a tea program in, say, a coffee house, we're predominantly a wholesale company, so a lot of our customers are coffee houses serving tea as a sort of a supplement program. We thought it would be great to just be able to cycle through sort of a genre system. So we always have green tea on our menu, and then we actually will say, okay, this company is selling our green tea, we call it green tea 1, and this is our green tea 2. And then we decide in the background what they're actually going to get. So, they might do our green tea 1. So right now that would be a Genmaicha Zaidaishu, heirloom cultivar that we were drinking with. Oh, last week it was Sargessa. So last week was Sargessa. We had an opportunity to really enjoy, just really sit down and enjoy that Genmaicha Zaidaishu. She didn't actually receive it in time for the show, but she sent me a sweet photo afterwards saying that it arrived right after the show was over. So that was a little bit sad, but it is what it is. But I'm glad that she enjoyed it. But that's our green 1. Our green 2, we have a Yunwu Chuntizong, and this is a candidate. This Biluochun could be a candidate for replacing that. So I'm gonna taste like some Longjing. I'm gonna taste. There's a Huang, like a Yellow Mountain sort of Maofeng, like a premium leaf tea that we're always interested in carrying, because one of our connections in China, she's from Yellow Mountain, and so she's sending us these green teas that her farm produces every year. Unfortunately, we end up going every year with one of her acquaintances that she introduces to us. She's game though, she's cool, and it's generally the result of these cuppings. But I think I just feel like I've never been able to properly make this Yellow Mountain green tea the way that it's meant to be made. And maybe this year, to bring this full circle back to this extraction methodology, if we encourage a Gongfu style with that hot water, quick infusion, large dose, we might be able to get out of that tea what we're supposed to get out of that tea. So it'll be really interesting this year, cupping green teas and not necessarily committing to an 80 degrees C, 2 minutes, 3 grams for 180 mils, but instead experimenting with this Gong Fu Cha style. Because that's really nice. Yeah, and these are very delicate leaves. If any leaves are going to taste terrible from throwing boiling water on them, it's going to be small, delicate green tea leaves. Because lots of surface area, lots of opportunity for extraction. Very delicate, lots of opportunity for over extraction. So you'd be expecting, if I'd messed up on this, some pretty sandy flavors. Okay, and it looks like we've hit 1:15, and we're joined by the wonderful Seasons Bakery. Anfisa, welcome to JagaVision.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi there.
So we're excited to have you on the show.
Good.
We were just seeing some really lovely posts on your Instagram, showing off some of the things that you're doing in your general everyday. But obviously, you're one of our wholesale clients, and you've had a chance to work with some of our teas in your baked goods as well. And we thought that was really exciting. So yeah, but Anfisa, you want to tell the audience a little bit about who you are, and maybe you could tell us a little bit about Seasons as well?
Oh yeah, of course. So I'm the online manager here at Seasons Bakery, and I haven't been working for that long, probably like 3-4 months.
Okay.
But I love it. It's such a cute little team. It's family owned, so it's really oriented towards customers, like bringing people together, the community together. Yeah, I love that both the front door team and the bakery team are really small, so we get to discuss all the big goods ideas together and like work together and stuff happening. Yeah, and that's actually how our spring seasonal was born, the raspberry almond black tea cream puff.
Yeah.
We were all testing it together, so.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, and you have actually I'm just gonna grab it from the fridge. I'm a little bit, like I was saying on the phone earlier, I'm a little bit worried about it just because, I wanted to do this, and I'm like, hey, can you send me some desserts in the mail?
Yeah, I was traveling.
Yeah, and it's like, it's an interesting one, I think. So can you show me what it's supposed to look like? And I'll
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So it isn't completely, it's
Yeah, it doesn't survive the heat and room temperature that well. We usually
it's okay.
try to keep it in the fridge.
What do you think?
I can't really see the color of it.
It's a little bit, worn in travel. You're gonna be in a better place than me. And I know cream puffs aren't supposed to go in the mail, but we figured it out. I was excited. I told the courier, we like to use a local courier called Ace, that this would be happening, and I'm like, you get the package. Can you do me a favor and try and be here before 1? And he was here right at 11 a.m. and it seems like they figured it out okay. So yeah, but these were a little bit these are easier to travel.
The croissants are a little bit better with the room temperature and traveling.
Yeah.
So they should be good.
Sweet. Yeah, so we kind of cheated because they're not like all tea ones, but I think it still makes sense. Actually, what we do at Jaga Silk is we have a dessert program as well that we basically unleash every Friday on our customers. So sounds like an attack. But we do daifuku and we do cakes and stuff, and I'm always like feeling this as a tea company, this almost requirement to use tea in my desserts, but I end up like putting the brakes on, and I'm like, no, I want to have like a pairing. I want to be able to have, the tea, and then I want something that goes with the tea. But I always find when I do put tea in the desserts, they just do really well. So there's this economy, like there's this, what is it, like this, almost this push and pull. But but I do love it when I'm able to create something that just like the tea is just part of like a tapestry of flavor, where it just like maybe adds a little bit of astringency to bring down a little bit of that over sugariness, or it really like helps to rein in a little bit of the fat that might be on the tongue from the butter or the cream or what have you. So yeah, just maybe you want to tell me a little bit about this raspberry dessert that you made with the black tea, which we would call crimson tea at Jaga Silk.
Yeah, so I'm actually gonna cut it open.
Okay. Awesome.
So
can't quite see your hands.
It's like you can.
Yeah, oh, there we go. Okay, awesome.
There we
Okay, now we can't see you, but that's okay.
Okay.
It's
okay. I'm gonna come back after.
Okay.
It's a really kind of like messy dessert.
Okay.
It has so much of the diplomat cream.
Okay.
But I'm gonna have to grab a napkin after. But yeah.
I'm into it.
I wonder if you're gonna even be able to see the layers. I don't think so. But basically, it goes. We infuse the black tea into milk first, and then we create diplomat cream out of that. And
is this with our Earl Grey?
No, the black tea.
Yeah, it tastes like our Earl Grey. Is that? There's
no, the Earl Grey is in. The Earl Grey's in the London fog, but for this one we use a different black tea. It's the
North Bank.
The name, yes.
The North Bank. Yeah, one. North Bank Assam CTC. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, it was like.
So what am I eating right now? This tastes so much like bergamot. Am I doing like a London fog something?
Well, did you do raspberry first?
Maybe I think I did this wrong. I failed.
It's okay. This one is the London fog.
Okay, yeah, I started with the London fog. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
Okay, so there's a London fog. You know what? Why don't you just keep talking, and I'm just gonna I'm gonna go to the North Bank. Okay. That's really good.
Well, I can start with London fog if you want.
Okay.
They're pretty similar. They're pretty similar in the production process. They're both stew. And we infuse tea into the milk and then make diplomat cream out of that.
Okay.
And then the stew itself is made first, and then for the London fog we put the cream from the bottom.
Okay.
And yeah, it's like a 2-day process too. So lots of detail goes into working on those. But
how do you infuse it? Like for the London fog, I find that when we use it in desserts, we often just we don't use any water. You can just kind of dissolve it right into the cream. But with the North Bank Assam CTC, there's a little bit of like an extraction process that's involved. Do you do that as well? Like with the London fog, are you just like no water at all, or do you do a small amount of water to dissolve it first before you put it in the cream? What does your process at Seasons Bakery look like?
That would actually be the question to the production team, and I do have Alex here, one of our bakers.
Oh, wonderful!
I'm just gonna ask him.
Okay, wonderful.
For the you can come in if you want.
Hello.
Sorry, he's making baguettes right now.
Okay, yeah.
Being really intrusive.
Thank you, Alex.
The question is whether for the infusion of the black tea, do we put it in the water first and then we add it to the milk?
No, actually we grind the tea and then we just put everything in the milk.
Okay.
And we cook it.
Amazing. Okay,
and
cool.
So we found that that method is the best way to get the flavor of the tea.
Yeah.
We tried infusing it and then it didn't come out as strong as we wanted.
100%.
So we use this method instead.
So for the London fog cream puff, do you just use it as is? You don't need to blend that one, right? Because it's already powdered.
So we still blend that one because we don't want like to make the tea to be like
even finer. Okay.
Like grainy.
Cool.
We like it to be like more like powdery.
Yeah, you're at that point you're milling the sugar that's in the London fog because it's a premix. So that's cool. Okay, and then you get a nicer texture. That's really awesome. So yeah, for the North Bank, one of our customers in Vancouver actually, they do a similar process with you with the CTC that you do for the North Bank, and but they keep it a little bit bigger and they put it into muffins, and so they're able to make
Whoa.
they're able to make like a lemon poppy seed muffin variation where it looks like a lemon poppy seed muffin, but it's actually Earl Grey CTC, and it's delicious. Absolutely fantastic way of working it.
Yeah.
And then that's interesting. I haven't heard of anybody milling the CTC before they put it into. So you put that into the cream, right?
Yes. If we don't mill it or if we don't grind it, it will be like the bit will be a bit big, and when we eat it, it will be just like bits.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. Yeah, and I mean, and it doesn't extract well into milk anyways, right? There seems to be an interruption with fat extracting those flavor compounds out of the tea, so it's like a lot slower, we find. Like if you try to like brew a tea in milk, for example, it's just way less conducive for extracting ideal flavor dynamics than if you were to use a like water, right? Water is just so much better. But when you're in baked goods, you know you're often involving cream or butter or what have you, and fat, and so there seems to be this challenge in how do I most ideally extract flavor. And we felt like we kind of resolved that with the London Fog by using a powdered tea. And you're taking that and you're applying that I guess that way of thinking to the CTCs, those cut, torn, and curled teas that are kind of like almost like a piece of sand, really, right? They're like you might not know this, but at origin they're actually harvesting the leaves, and during the production process they're actually cutting, tearing, and curling in a special machine, and then they actually soak in their own juices before they are dried down into those little sponges. And so it's such an instant extraction. Like you can actually take maybe 20 or 30 seconds, and you can just pour boiling water just over top of the leaves into a cup, and you can do this quick pour over, and you get this full flavored cup of tea. So they're really pack a lot in there, and you can get it out fairly easily with water. But it's just really interesting to hear you doing that with the milling process. So thank you very much. That was very very helpful.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks. Okay.
Cool. Okay, so then that means I should be eating this one. I'm not going to show this one to the camera because it didn't survive the trip as well. So I'm going to go for it, though. This is the
raspberry?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so the raspberry has the diplomat cream, the homemade raspberry jam, and a little almond crumble at the bottom. Lots of textures, and I really like that the sweetness is really balanced.
Yeah.
I was actually, when I was growing up, in my family we would drink black tea and we would add raspberry jam to it and just like mix it together, so that really reminds me of that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I can't, I'm just tasting it and I got a lot of jam. And I'm not tasting as much of the no, there it is in the finish. It's kind of got that caramelly, interesting flavor. That's really cool. Okay, so and then you put in the almond. Do you guys use like a marzipan, or are you like crushing almonds, or what's your sorry, I'm asking you all these technical production questions.
Yeah. I know a little bit. But the almond crumble?
Like, are you adding some people when they're like making an almond croissant, they'll use like a marzipan. But are you guys just like making your own almond paste and putting that in there, or like how does the because I also noticed you use it in here too, right? This croissant here, is it a similar like filling on the inside? There's
that one. No, that one actually has frangipane, right? The almond croissant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the almond cream. It's it's
almond frangipane.
Yeah, frangipane. For the raspberry cream puff, we use the almond brittle. Yeah.
Cool.
So we make it ourselves as well. Yeah.
That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, where am I? I'm just noticing the video apparently dropped the quality of our stream. Just give me one sec, okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. Should be good now. Okay. So that's awesome. I figured that. Did you have a bite? Are you got You got sweetness in the mouth that we can cut back with some tea?
I mean, yeah, I've had so many of these,
Okay.
but
We're going to see how this pairs. Let's see that connection between the I really like that the London Fog one a lot. I'm going to go to your shop, and I'm going to like, once it's not COVID and we're allowed to like travel, and if you still have see, what's sad for me is this is a seasonal dessert. Because
I know, but the
I'm gonna
London
miss
Fog
it.
we always have it.
Really? Okay. Because
Yeah.
the raspberry one, I don't think it survived the trip very well. It was maybe a little bit more liquid in that one than in the...
It is more open,
Yeah.
so the air like gets in there faster. But London Fog is a little bit safer because it's just like all covered up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it...
Yeah, I love the London Fog as well.
It's really nice.
It's really good.
Okay. I can taste that bergamot, and I can taste the tea.
Mm-hmm.
I can taste the cream. It's got a nice... now, the shoe, I heard that you can actually... That what makes a... what is that dessert called in Mexico? The long kind of donut-like dessert. Churro?
Churro?
Yeah. So apparently, you just take the batter that's meant for shoe, and you deep fry it to make churros. Isn't that cool?
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's a fascinating recipe for me.
Yeah.
I'm always interested in tasting shoe, and in Japan, the shoe cream, like the cream puffs. They're a thing.
Oh, thank
They're
you.
like an institution. They are such a popular dessert, and the other owner of Jaga Silk is Japanese, and I lived there for a number of years, and it was always a joy to just really go to town on enjoying some really nice shoe. So this is great.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's always a treat to get some cream puffs.
Of course. We can't wait for you to try them fresh.
So where can people find you in Vancouver? If you want to tell our viewers how to find Seasons Bakery, I guess they could just Google you. But
we're right on Commercial Drive.
Yeah, awesome. We used to supply a number of different cafes on Commercial Drive with our our matcha, but we've been around now, if you can believe it, Jaga Silk for 16 years, and there's been a lot of comings and goings of different cafes and different cafe owners. But I think in our heyday with the Commercial Drive, we were supplying 3 different cafes on Commercial Drive at the same time. And,
nice.
And the response was really, really good. You know, the community, I mean, obviously 16 years, there's going to be a lot of changes, but my kind of feeling that I get whenever I go to Commercial Drive is one of creativity. There just seems to be a really creative energy and a really supportive community.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Eastland in general, you just see so many different faces and like personalities, and all of our, locals that come in, that like faces that we recognize. We always like to chat with them, and they always come back. So that's really good to see, especially now, right?
Yeah, totally. Cool. Yeah, no, that's awesome. When we're making this tea, you want to grab a scale. Probably good to just make sure you have everything. You have your teapot, your water's boiling.
Okay.
You want to...
I have water here. I did need a scale. We just have one.
Okay.
That we have to share it.
Fair. Okay, so it's a coveted scale. Can we do an 8?
This one good?
Amazing. You're going to do an
Perfect.
8. If you want to preheat your teapot, and you want to drop 8 grams of tea into it. But let's make sure before we do that, can you weigh out how much water fits into your teapot?
It's like a baby teapot. So I have this thing in it.
Okay.
I don't know if we need that.
Yeah, no, let's take it out. That's
I think I have enough like here. It goes like a half.
Let's you can use cold water if you want, but let's weigh out how much water fits into the teapot. So like, if it's filled all the way to the kind of like 80% full.
80% full. Okay.
Or even 90% between that.
It's 360 grams.
Okay, so that's basically 12 ounces. Okay. So what I would love you to do is you're going to only need to use half of that water, okay? So you're going to still get nice boiling water. you're gonna put that water that's in there back into that pitcher, I guess, and so that's allowed you to preheat. And then if you want to dump 8 grams of tea into the dry teapot, or like just the preheated teapot.
Okay, so no water at this teapot at all.
That's right. If you want to throw in, is there no inner lid? Did we forget to send you an inner lid? I'm very embarrassed.
I do. I already opened it to smell it because I was so excited.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, the inner lid, that's what makes those tins special, is the inner lid protects the...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's
really like sealed.
Yeah,
so.
we try. We want it to, it's all about flavor aromatics and protecting them. And we've found over the years that when we, and it's 8 grams you're going to put in. If you want to share your tea with other people, you could make a giant pot and you could put in 16 grams if you want.
Yeah, we're going to have a little tea time with our team after as well.
Okay.
Awesome. We're really excited to try this one.
Sweet. Yeah, I love our oolongs. I'm excited for 2021, but that's one of the best oolongs we've brought in at JagaSilk. So yeah, okay. So you put in 8 grams. You want a rolling boil, so really hot water, as hot as it can get. And I want you might have to go and reheat that water.
Should I come back?
Yeah, totally fine. And
I'll still hot, but I'll come back.
Okay. And you can hear me. I think you're on a headset.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome.
It's still with me.
Amazing. So what we're gonna do is, we'll have you go and heat up that water, boiling water. We're doing a style here called Gong Fu Cha. It's the same Chinese characters as Kung Fu, and it's generally just for tea, but it's not required. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna just we're gonna put 180 grams of water over top of those 8 grams of tea.
Okay, 180.
Yeah. And this is different from the settings that are on the tin. You can follow the settings that are on the tin for a lower dose, which is a more cost-effective way of making this tea, which is very important in our industry. But this is a really flavor-rich way of making it. It's just lovely. And so you just do about 10 seconds of the water on the tea, and then already you're gonna pour into a decanter or a cup or anything that will empty the entire thing. So what I would do is just empty out that pitcher that you had the water in, and then
I have a little cup.
Oh, perfect. And then just I don't think that cup's gonna fit everything. Why don't you dump everything out of that pitcher?
Sounds good.
And then you're gonna pour through that sieve. I feel like I'm gonna burn your hands if we're not careful, though. I'm sorry. I think I've set you up for a fail here, because it's going to be really over extracted. So you want to basically what you need to do is you need to pour through a sieve into that pitcher. So can you hold that basket that you put to the side is probably going to be your best filter, and that's going to be hard to manage.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. I'm worried about burning your fingers.
No, it's all good.
You got this?
Yes.
All right. Awesome. So it should smell really good. Because there was a little bit of dancing around there where I was trying to, have you do 3 things at the same time. We did end up doing an extraction that wasn't 10 seconds, but probably closer to 30 seconds. So it's going to be really strong, like unpleasantly strong.
It's okay.
And the way to get around that is to just do a little bit of post-dilution. It's kind of cheating in the tea industry, but people do it all the time. And it's just a way of, if you go a little bit too strong to the point where it's kind of unpleasant, especially in this kind of situation, you haven't necessarily destroyed the tea through over-extraction, because there's different ways of manipulating these tea leaves to draw out ideal flavors. But what you have done is you've made it too strong to be enjoyable. So just a little, even 10% or 15% more water into the pitcher, and it's just it's gonna taste so much better. But you should try it both ways. Try a little sip of it first in a cup or whatever.
It smells really good.
It should smell amazing. Hopefully it does. Anyway. So the Huang Jingui by Wang, and it should be a little bit kind of nose crinklingly astringent or strong, just too strong, and then just.
Oh, I like it.
You like it? Okay.
I like it like that. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's really flavorful, so.
Yeah, and that with your I'm liking this, the London Fog shoe with the Huang Jingui. This is from a farmer named Mr. Wang. And Mr. Huang is in Fujian province, and Fujian is one of the basically they are considered the birthplace of tea or of oolongs, I should say, in sort of tea lore. And you would oolongs are different from, say, green tea in how you manipulate the propyl oxidase enzyme. So there's an enzyme that's responsible essentially for browning the leaves, and the process of making tea is really your control over enzymatic oxidation. So how are you controlling that enzyme? When you want the enzyme to stop browning the leaves, in a really sort of basic understanding of tea, you hit it with a lot of heat in a process called kill green, okay? And that's going to freeze it in that moment. So if you take the Camellia sinensis leaves to a point where 20% of the leaves have been withered, like moisture loss has happened before you do that, then you do the kill green process. Then you've hit the world of oolongs. Looks like Sister Speak has been able to join us. So Sherri Ann, lead singer of Sister Speak, meet Anfisa. Anfisa, how do you pronounce your last name? I don't want to read it live.
It's Izusa.
Izusa. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anfisa, Izusa, and Sherri Ann. Sherri Ann is has a fantastic music project. You should totally check it out. Was just live before our show. And then Anfisa here, Sherri Ann, she's the online manager at Seasons Bakery on Commercial Drive in Vancouver, one of our wholesale customers. So,
cool.
yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Anfisa.
Awesome. So we are just in the middle of making some tea, and look at that. Look what came in the mail, Cher.
Oh wow, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's so we're in a pretty good place right now. We were just talking about this tea that we just brewed. So to brew it, we were going to do a gong fu cha style. So you just do 8 instead of the settings that are on the package. You want to use boiling water, and you want to put 8.
Okay.
You want to put 8 grams of tea, 180 grams of water, and a quick 10 or 15 second extraction.
180. I just boiled it, but like 5 minutes ago. Should I go boil it again?
You should get it as hot as you can. Yeah.
Okay, I'm being right back.
It's like deja vu.
I went through it.
Yeah, you went through exactly.
Now I know.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. You know, the settings on the package call for 90 degrees. We really try to come up with ideal brew settings for a cafe environment where your hottest temperature is generally that hot water tower. And most people's hot water tower is set for 200 degrees Fahrenheit or 90 degrees centigrade, and it makes a big difference to be able to make it taste good that way. So when you're drinking the tea, I encourage you to just take a little sip, and then if you hold it on your tongue a little bit, and you blow air out your nose and hold your breath for a moment, it's going to really circulate those aromatics into your retroolfactory senses, and you'll get those smelling sensors behind your nose to get super interesting flavor clarity.
It's really,
It works, eh?
really flavorful.
Cool. Yeah, I love this tea. And again, I was talking about Mr. Huang and Fujian. And Fujian is responsible for oolong, being kind of like the birthplace of oolongs. But what's really interesting is that during World War II, there was an exodus of tea farmers to Taiwan during the war. And you had a number of folks set up shop in Taiwan, and nurseries in Taiwan developed a very, very popular cultivar. You know, in apples we have Granny Smith and Red Delicious and all that kind of stuff. In wine, you know, we have like Pinot Noir and Merlot and Cabernet and all that, right? Like these are different cultivars. In tea, there's also lots of different cultivars. So the Qing Shin is the cultivar that was used for this particular tea, and you're going to be essentially working with a tea cultivar that was developed in Taiwan by farmers from Fujian, and then reverse imported into the birthplace of oolongs, and then they're growing these tea cultivars in Fujian now and creating oolongs with them. Isn't that interesting? It's just kind of like this.
That's so interesting.
So these plants are only 7 years old, and normally you want to wait at least more like 15 years before you start to get really nice flavors possible. So we're really excited about what this farm will have to say flavor-wise in a few years.
Yeah. Well, it's already so good, so I'm excited.
So Sherri, where are we at in that process?
I have the tea. How many grams is it again?
You want to do 8 grams of tea. If you're doing the little, are you doing a little tiny jar? Is that your plan?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're gonna do the little tiny jar, then do 5 grams of tea, and then fill that jar.
Oh, I have this one too.
If you're doing that jar, then yeah, brew in that jar then, and then you can have a little bit more
The
liquid.
medium one?
Yeah, the medium
Oh,
one.
you want to see something funny?
What's up?
I'll show you. I'll show you both this. Sorry, there's a little stuff in the background. There's 4 different jars. Can you see them all?
Oh, it's like one of those Russian dolls, you know? They have the different size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. Awesome.
I'm almost there. So 15 seconds, 180.
180 grams of water over 8 grams of tea. So quite a bit of tea.
Got it.
And you pour it through. And then, Anfisa, if you want to go to the second infusion, then you just do boiling water again. Similar, it's basically the same process, except this time, if you weigh out the water, you'll have absorbed some liquid into the leaves, so it won't be as good if you weigh the same amount of water. So you got to make room for the water saturation into the leaves. And how we do that is we kind of minus 10 or 15% from our total brew weight. So instead of doing 180 grams, you do somewhere around 165. Roughly.
Okay.
And then if you want to put 165 of boiling water on it, you can do a similar extraction time. So you're doing. I feel bad though making you wander the cafe there, but it's gonna be worth it. The second steep is really good.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a little bit left here,
Okay.
but I'll make another one.
Okay, I'm gonna do it too. I'm on this. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna be doing 180 grams. So those watching, if you want to go to check out Seasons Bakery, they also serve our matcha. They have our London Fog. They have some of our loose teas. There's a little bit of chai on the menu, as far as I understand. So lots of different Jaga Silk products that you can check out if you're on Commercial Drive and you feel like being COVID careful and popping by to support one of your local bakeries.
Yeah.
So how is the new restrictions? Is this really wrecking you guys? You guys handling it okay? Or I know this is quite a trying time for small businesses all over the world, but BC with those new restrictions recently, it's been quite an interesting, almost back in time moment for a lot of folks.
Yeah. We did have to readjust the way that the bakery is open. So there's no more walking in. We have like a setup basically like outside. So just to reduce the contact and, keep our customers as safe as we can and stuff like that. So I think it did affect kind of like the capacity, because some people usually try to go out for like a treat and tea time and sit outside or like sit inside. You really can't really do that.
Right.
So, but we did have increased quantities of deliveries, and people tried to send each other little gifts for birthdays, just like contactless delivery. So we're really grateful for that.
Cool.
As well as like staying open. Some businesses had to shut down. So, we're staying optimistic and grateful for what we have. So
I passed by a business on the way home yesterday where their space was for lease. And I had gone there as a kid because my grandparents are from Vancouver Island. And it's just, I don't know why, but it was just another moment where I was like, wow, this is really hard for a lot of people, Yeah.
Like,
it's a really hard time. And sometimes you can make it through and sometimes you can't. And I wonder this one, like maybe they just been around for so long that they just decided it was a good time to retire, or you know, was it COVID that is likely that they just were like, okay, just too much, too long, right? I think when it started, I actually still have a sign that said will likely be closed for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, because
Yeah, it's like,
yeah, because who would have thought, right, that we'd be sitting here in really
I know.
almost the summer of the next year, and yeah,
yeah, when it
Yeah.
just happened and it was just no people outside, it felt like a movie, right?
Yeah.
You couldn't come
Mhm.
and get coffee or get takeout.
yeah,
There's
nothing.
just no one on the streets. It was so sad.
Yeah. I mean, really important,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that we did it. And it's probably because of that intense lockdown that the numbers were so low for a little bit there, right? Like I had an article appear on my phone, and it was saying like 35 people a day in BC, and I was like, how old is this article? And then I was like, oh, right, 2020, right? Yeah. Now it's
Yeah.
like what, like, yeah, 1,000 people a day, like it's.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Is it as bad as Victoria? I would assume so.
I think that the mainland is harder hit than the island, but the island goes up and down. There's been our fair share of clusters and stuff, and so it's I think for a while there I was feeling pretty safe. I was like, oh yeah, people are being really careful, and well, I'm not really, like, I need to be careful just so that I'm kind of stepping up and doing my part, but
Yeah.
but I wasn't feeling a sense of vulnerability in terms of the virus being in my immediate environment. But I think there's a very good chance that I come in contact with it in my day if I'm out and shopping at a supermarket or something, you know, like I think it's in the environment, and it's just really likely. And who knows, I'm young enough that I could be very much a carrier and asymptomatic and not know it. So you
Yeah.
know, just kind of taking that perspective in what we do here, and trying to figure it out as we go. But
It was pretty wild. Well, last summer there was quite a long period of time where there were 0 active known cases.
on the island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And same thing in the interior. I remember that. What a concept.
Yeah. And Anfisa, Sherri was living in California. So
Oh, okay.
so coming home to Canada from her career as a musician down in Los Angeles was quite a story, hey, Sherri Ann?
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, was like living in both places kind of at this, already.
Yeah, fortunately you were.
So it wasn't crazy. Like, it wasn't like I was, like I hadn't, you know, it wasn't like I'm coming home after 20 years or something, you know, which, like, some people, that was the case. That would be really intense.
Right. Yeah, but yeah, it was like the road in danger being closed by the time you got to the border.
Border?
Yeah.
We were like 24 hours, 22 hours straight.
Driving.
Just before, like, got there, like, I think the day before the border closed. It was, like, crazy.
Yeah, so
intense. That was so intense.
What do you think of that second infusion there, Anfisa?
I like it. This one's actually stronger for me. Okay. I'm not sure why.
Okay. Yeah, no, it should have what generally happens with the second infusion is you get a little bit more body. So the first infusion is all about aromatics, and the second infusion is about body. So it's again at 10 or 15 seconds. Again, if it's unpleasantly strong, don't be afraid to dilute it a little bit. Even 10% water can make all the difference between enjoyability and kind of just pushing through too strong of a drink. But everybody's sense of what's perfect and what's not is a little different. Highly encourage you to try out the settings on our tin too, which is 6 grams, 180 mils, 90 degrees centigrade, and 1 minute and 30. And when it says that, you can just pull water right out of the hot water tower. So the only thing you want to be careful of is make sure that you're giving you want the tea leaves to have enough room to spin with convection currents. A lot of specialty cafes that we work with have those 4 Life teapots that you were showing us. And I'm always encouraging people to use them as a decanter. It's actually a lot easier to brew in like a jar or in like one of those Chemex pour over decanter things. Brew in those so that the tea leaves have room to spin with convection currents and really get out a really good amount of flavor. And then pour through a sieve into those teapots, and then use the teapot as just like my finished brew. It's just a nice way to do it. So yeah.
I think that's how our baristas actually do it, because I did watch them.
Sweet. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
No,
So
it's the way to do
that's
it. It's the way to do it. Cool. Awesome. So yeah, third steep, if you do make it after the show, I highly recommend doing the same thing, but you can extend the steep time a little bit. If it's tasting, what's nice about gong fu cha is that it's just a different way of exploring the tea than, say, the settings that are on the tin. And you can use this system really straight across the board for a lot of different specialty full leaf teas. And it's just this idea of like a high dose flash infusion, hot water temperature. But you also get to be the kind of curator of flavor at that moment, where if it's a little strong, then you know for yourself the next steep either do exactly the same thing, because the third steep is going to require more time to get out the same flavor. So if it was a little strong the second time, then the third time, if you do exactly the same time, then it'll already be weak by the very nature of it being a third infusion. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you can totally do that. And then if you find that it's a little watery, then maybe overdo it a little bit and do like 25 or 30 seconds more the next time, and then cut it back to 15 or 20 seconds each consecutive infusion. So you keep on increasing the time once you get to around the fourth or fifth infusion, and you can take this to about 10, 11, 12 infusions and just keep on getting really interesting layers of flavor out of your tea. So I think that's why a lot of folks drink their tea in little tiny teapots that are like you'll love this guy here. I'll show you. This is an I Ching teapot. Isn't that adorable?
Oh, amazing. That's so cute.
So these are ideal. Then you only need to put like say 3 or 4 grams. You fill it right up and it's only 90 milliliters, and then you just keep going with it, right? And 90 mils times 5 infusions is a drinkable amount of liquid, but 10 infusions times 360 mils can be a little bit overhydrating.
Yeah.
So
much.
awesome. Anyway, sorry, Cheyenne, you had a question.
It has a little bit of a jasmine-y kind of feel, taste to it to me.
Yeah, there's
floral.
They I just saw a comment on the screen. One of our viewers says that the teapot's a perfect sized pot for cats. Thank you, Steve. Sorry, it just caught my attention. So the where were we? Yeah, the flavor dynamics, the smell, the aromatics, the Huang Gui, the Gui part actually means osmanthus. So we're talking about osmanthus flower, and I think there's that kind of pungent floral aromatic that definitely steps up. So we only have a little bit of time left on the show. I just wanted to know if you had any final comments here, Anfisa, about the tea, about the use of tea in your baked goods at Seasons. Anything that you'd like to share with the viewers before we go today?
I absolutely love the tea.
Okay.
I see that it's like chestnut honey notes, so all the time I'm searching for them, and I do feel them now.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm just wondering, because every season we have a different pastry, right? So I was actually going to ask you, what would your opinion be like a unique tea that we can use?
This Huang Gui, if you did like 40 grams of tea into like a 1 liter mason jar, 850 mils of cold water, and you chilled it, and then after 36 hours you pour it through a sieve into another jar, you have a really strong concentrate. You could actually take that and put in some agar and some sugar, and you could make little jellies, some oolong jellies.
Oh.
And really, I think you get creative with that, where you could put that either as a filling, or you could use it as sort of like jujubes in like a specialty drink, or you could cut it up and make kind of like a really creative bubble tea, where you kind of like sip in these like cubes of flavor that just blast. You could even sweeten it with honey instead of sugar, so that you could really sort of capitalize on those pre-existing flavor notes and just bring them out that much more strongly is what I would suggest. And cold brew in general, we're getting to the season. Like this tea, this is also a really exciting time of year. You'll be seeing in the next month or two, we're constantly changing our menu of what we have available. But as I was explaining to our viewers before we started, it's always six teas within a few genres that we do. So we have 2 greens, 2 oolongs, 2 crimson teas, which are normally called black teas in North America. And then we also that's 6 there. So it's 6 Camellia sinensis teas. And then we always have 2 herbal teas. We have a spearmint, fireweed, and cinnamon that we're looking at transitioning to a peppermint. I want to do a butterfly pea flower and the yuzu peel. That's going to be that one will be great over ice. And then we have a collaborative tea that we're doing with Sister Speak. It's called Singer's Delight. It has honey bush, marshmallow root, and raspberry leaf, and it's really good as a lozenge for your throat, and really beautiful flavor, very calming. It's a very calming tea. That one as a cold brew I think would be fantastic as well. So yeah, lots to experiment with.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, well, I can't wait to try those.
Awesome.
And hopefully introduce them here as well, because we all love teas.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great to hear. Great to hear. So our viewers can find you on Instagram at seasons.bakery. Was that the right one? I think, yeah. Okay.
It's seasons.bakery.
And then, or at www.seasonsbakery.ca.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So
that's where you find our menu and like all the descriptions of limited treats and stuff like that.
Fantastic. Cool. All right. And Sherri Ann, did you have any final words you want to say about the tea? I know you just joined us at the end here, but you got a chance to taste it, and maybe if you had any final words for Anfisa here, or for our viewers, etc.
Oh yeah, I would love to. Can I order desserts online from you?
Yeah, you can just email us or call us.
Cool.
It's a pretty easy process. Yeah.
That's great.
Sherri Ann often stays away from gluten. Do you have different gluten-free desserts? Did you send? I think we talked about maybe doing that. Is one of these here in the box?
Yeah, we were going to send you we have gluten-free sparkle cookies and brownies, but I think you mentioned she's allergic to.
Oh yes. To sugar.
To sugar?
Yeah. So
no. I'm not allergic.
Sure.
I can have a little bit.
You can have a little bit? Okay, then brownies and sparkle cookies are really good. They're so like chewy and rich. Yeah, you can't even tell they're gluten-free.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh wow.
Okay, so we'll have to have a visit there when it's possible.
Yeah. And I'll bring you some blossoms.
Yes, thank you. We don't have any
kidding.
on our street, which I'm really sad about.
Right. I need to bring some into the shop.
They'll be there. They'll be there soon.
Yeah, we have them nearby.
Oh, cool. Oh, I got you. Well, I think that I don't know what kind of tree that is actually. It looks like a cherry tree.
Looks like cherry blossom.
Yeah,
Sorry.
probably a cherry blossom, right?
Yeah.
So beautiful. Well, I'm really loving the tea. It's very floral and overly large glasses. I know that's totally not.
It works.
It was either that or this, but
work with what you have. For sure.
Quite delicious. Thank you very much, both of you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And you can you can find Sister Speak if you go to Sister Speak Music at Sister Speak Music or sisterspeakmusic.com. Patreon.com/Sister Speak to follow her on Patreon and see those shows every Thursday. Live performances on the Patreon is the best sort of audio and the consistent performance. Whereas sometimes when you do Facebook, Instagram, that kind of thing, right? So totally check out Sister Speak. You have plans, I believe, for some recordings in the near future, I understand, and really encourage people to check out that live album. What a fantastic album, the Live at the Belly Up. So yeah. Cool. Okay.
Thanks.
So thank you both. I really appreciate your time today. Let's call it a JagaVision and enjoy the tea where you are. There's still quite a bit more infusions. Oh, I almost forgot something. I'm saying goodbye, and I tried 2 of the desserts, and I didn't try the any of the dry ones. I feel like I'm sorry to do this to you. We're just saying goodbye, and I'm just looking at. I'm just like showing the audience, but I'm not actually eating them. Why don't I just like quickly at least bite one of each, okay? And
Okay.
you tell me what I'm eating, and then that's how we'll say a real goodbye, okay? And I just goes.
Okay.
Okay. What am I? What? So which one should I go with first? I have these three.
I think my favorite is the almond croissant.
The almond
you
croissant.
can
Okay. All right.
just bake it like in half
got
because
this.
most of the cream is in the middle.
Okay.
Ooh.
And then you can really dive in.
Did you just tell me to bake it? No, you didn't.
I mean, you can preheat it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's what I like to do, but.
I got this.
Oh,
All
I
right.
told you to break it, not bake it.
I'm like, why would you do
Like in
that?
half.
It's too much for me. You're gonna burn it. Okay, all right. I got this. I can break. I can bake. For goodness sake. Okay, all right. You know,
They are second day.
I know,
So
right?
they might
I was
not
gonna
be-
say,
yeah.
and that taste does not taste like second day. I've had old,
Really?
I've had old croissants. I'm like all about croissants in the morning. Taste better than croissants at 3 p.m. kind of guy. That was really good. It's like buttery, it's flaky. It hasn't gotten all weird and stale at all, even though this was like picked up yesterday and couriered to me for delivery today, right? So, wow,
Yeah, I was traveling.
that's really nice.
Yum.
I can see why you like this
Good.
one.
Yeah, our croissants are obviously better the day off, but they, for the second day, they're usually pretty good.
That's impressive. Oh.
Good. Well, I hope you're gonna like the butter one and the chocolate one as well.
I will give them a go. Okay, thank you so much, Anfisa. Really appreciate you
Yeah,
coming
of
on to the
course.
show.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, you take care.
Okay,
Goodbye.
bye.
This is gonna be
Nice to meet you
great
both.
with the oolong. Really happy. Okay.
Okay, hopefully
Yeah.
we'll see you here soon.
Bye.
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 Take care, Sherri Ann. Okay, I think I managed to hang up the call by accident. Okay. So here we are. We're back next Thursday. We're gonna have a really good time, I think, with Yamaguchi-san joining us. So if you want to tune in on Thursday at 1 o'clock every week, JagaVision. Next episode is episode 52. So 52 weeks of JagaVision. That was Seasons Bakery, Sherri Ann from Sister Speak. Thank you so much for watching. And I encourage you all to go listen to some Sister Speak and check out Seasons Bakery and go to jagasilk.com and do all those fun things. And I hope you have a wonderful day. You take care. Goodbye. It's really good croissant.